agreeing the deliverables, and finally, that last item we put in there is make sure that your document repository is set up and you know all the documents, everybody knows the documents available, and everybody knows the documents that need to be created during the course of the project. So you have a list of those things. Once again, from a role and responsibility point of view, the PMO in a very standardized way can structure that, and they can get the feedback from the business units who are putting their signature on the information as well. And as you can see, being kept informed, this is where senior management stays in, because senior management is going to be the one to decide if this project gets approved. And if it gets approved, then you execute. And here's where all the work you've done here in phase 2 gets listed here with the due dates and the milestones and the closure next step. So at this point in time, you can see driving the project, you actually have the business unit driving it, because they're the ones that need to get their hands dirty to do the things. And you have the PMO as a consultant type role, making sure that all these tasks are being done according to the timeline. In the event things start slowing down, then the PMO's responsibility is going to be to do what they do best and report the project status to the steering committee. So finally, when these items are done, you're in the close phase. So you want to make sure you debrief and you want to communicate the closing to the stakeholders of the project. It's the typical closing meeting that the PMO is doing with the senior stakeholders and all the extended project team as well, explaining to them what happened and what they got from it. And then finally, you're in phase 5, review lessons learned and identify any best practices. And if those best practices are confirmed, make sure that everybody's aware of them, make sure they're available. So the next time somebody needs to do a similar project, they have the best practices available as a starting point, and communicate to the company what has been done, who the main players were that helped make the project a success. So in the first example I'll show you using our software, we want to install CCTV cameras at DuPont. So at this point in time, the first department that's going to get the installation is the purchasing and logistics team run by Yoon. There he is. And of course, the IT team is going to be accountable for this project. So you have IT driving a tech project in the PMC, the purchasing and logistics department. So if you take a look at this project of the head of IT, there's Sergio, missed the R, head of IT. We have Yoon Yoshida, he's the head of purchasing and logistics. He's the primary stakeholder. And of course, you have your PMO, and there's our friend Leonardo, ready to drive the project to the next level. So if you look at it that way now, identify the project, you have the PMO working with the head of IT, doing the identification activities. You have the PMO again working with IT, making sure that project is getting set up, agreeing the costs and the benefits. This time you have Samuel, the head of the company, and you have Celine. Celine is the head of corporate administration, which is basically the supervisor of Sergio. So Sergio reports to Celine, so Celine's kept informed here. So basically, as long as the PMO and the business do a good job of laying down the project plan and convincing senior management, they're going to get the approval. And once they get the approval, they have 6 key steps that are going to get those CCTV activations taking place. As you can see, this is where Yoon from the logistics team is now taking a lead role as the responsible party to do these things under the accountability of Sergio, head of IT. To close the project, the PMO once again takes control and makes sure that the debriefing takes place correctly, make sure that communicating to this closing stakeholder gets done correctly. And finally, celebrating success. This is where the business unit once again is responsible to tell the whole company that, which includes Samuel, head of quality, Danny, Clotilde, head of business development, Celine herself. It's a whole company. This is what we did over here. These were the people that did a good job, and keep this in mind, because in the future, we're going to do more installations. So this is how this project's going to go. So what we can do now, give you a quick little introduction. So you're going to see now, we're going to go into the Presto cockpit. This is where projects can be managed and be listed in this typical table type view. And we're going to set up the project you just saw. We're going to use the RACI matrix, as I mentioned earlier, and we can even take a look at the Kanban board as we as we start building the project. So the first thing I'll do, we'll log into Presto. Here we are. Okay, I hope it's not too slow. Sometimes when there's Zoom, it's not the best performance. Okay, so far so good. So now we're in DuPont. This is the landing page of Presto. There's a lot of things you can do here. Today we're going to talk about one and a half things. We're going to talk about project management, and we're going to talk about KPI management as well. So at this point in time, this is the project management cockpit that we're going to enter. And now you can see, I'm going to close my windows. You can see here, we're in the cockpit. And I don't see anything here because I logged in as myself, that's me. And I say, okay, I'm only seeing my projects. And obviously I don't have any projects at the moment. So show me all projects in the company that I have visibility into, and you can see immediately a bunch of lines in these tables. Every line here is a different project. So at this point in time, we want to build this project here, and we have a timeline of 2 weeks in the first phase. 2 weeks starting from the close of the second. The second phase starts from the close of the first phase, lasts for 2 weeks. We estimate 10 weeks on this one, on phase 3, 1 week to close, 1 week to celebrate success. Now, everything in phase 1 and 2 and 4 and 5 is standard. So this is going to always be automatic. This is how DuPont decided they want their workflow to work. Phase 3 is where you have to really do your problem solving type work. So at this point in time, just create a simple project. So I click the plus button and I add an owner. And the owner for this project is going to be Sergio himself. He's the head of IT. So I put his name in, and it lists every team where he's the owner. So what we're doing is we're assigning a project to the team. If tomorrow Sergio changes companies, this project still exists at the team level of IT. So we add it there. We'll save. And first we got to put a name in, of course. So I'm going to do some copy and pasting to save some time. So the first thing we want to do, how do we create a project in Presto? The project name is install CCTV cameras in the purchasing warehouse. So I'm going to come over here, copy and paste that in. The status, the project is now officially open. We can put a description in there. I'm just going to copy these things just for data purposes. So this will be the description, but these are also going to become more detailed and captured in the